only one
Connection between Chinese and Greek
opportunity.
language.
Yeah, for example, and then I follow up with other questions. It's a unique opportunity to talk about this very important thing.
Oh,
You
I
know,
never thought about this. Do you find connections?
sometimes, yes, sometimes even words resemble a little bit. You see, when I did the blood test in order to know my genetics,
Oh, you
I
did that.
discovered
The
that
DNA.
I have more Greek blood than Italian blood. This was shocking for me and for my brothers because my brothers, it's impossible. I said, "Oh, you're more Greek," and then they took same.
Really?
Like, oh, you're more Greek than Italian. What's going on here?
Wait a minute. Who is Italian?
My mother.
Your mother is.
Supposed to be, but she has a lot of Greek blood. What's going on? Someone is not being paid here.
I thought your father is Chinese, but your mom is Brazilian.
Actually, no, she's Italian.
Italian.
Italian, yeah.
But she came to Brazil.
When I was a little kid.
Oh, right. So she speaks both Italian and Portuguese.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I started to get involved in my 14 years, when I was 14 years old, I started to get really involved with Chinese philosophy.
Yeah.
And she came with the Summa Theologica, with Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah,
He put it in my desk and said, "This is a Spanish. I could not find an Italian for you, but this do. You're not going to convert to Buddhism." In front of my father, and my father really likes Buddhism. So he was like, I bet he's going to be Buddhist in the future. Nowadays, I'm both. Really? I don't care about these things. So I said, I'm both. I go to the nest with you if you want. I go to the temple with you, Father. I don't care about these things, That's But the way of thinking between these two caught my attention. These two cultures, the Chinese way of thinking and the European way of thinking.
Yes.
The Italian and the Greek way of thinking, Christianity, and this, and then this made me move towards this very strange story. The priest of my community is a Scotland man.
Oh, really?
And I asked him, I want to know.
Where? You mean here?
No, in São Paulo.
São Paulo. Yeah.
I said, I want to know English. I was like 10 years old. He gave me 2 books, thick books of history of philosophy, Greek philosophy, gave to me, and gave me a very short dictionary, Portuguese in English, a dictionary. And he said to me, translate, I will correct, and then you learn English, and then you talk to me. And I said, okay, I want to know this thing. Start to read.
Your English was poor, right?
No English.
No English?
No English at all. And then he said, we start from there.
Wow.
I looked at him and said, this is strange, man. How am I going to supposed to? And then start to pick up movies and put tables on the screens, tapes on the screens in order to just train my ear. And then start to go for ourselves.
This is how you learned English?
Yes, pretty much. When I went to China, I already knew a little bit. So
in China, you also improved your English, right? This happened
a lot.
Yeah,
a lot
to us. Yes,
because it's like highlighted Tongkonan. So
yes,
so a lot of people coming together. So each one speaks a different language. So there is a common ground, or Chinese or English.
Yeah. And you also meet native speakers.
Yes, a lot. They use you to train their English, so you have to speak in English most of the time.
No, I mean native speakers, native like Americans.
Oh yeah,
right. You meet the British people. Yeah. And of course the Chinese, will use you to, if they know like good English, there's no way you're going to practice your Chinese with them.
Yes,
there's no way.
Right. But how you got involved in Chinese culture, being a Greek? Athens, this is very unique. What's happening?
I mean, they ask me this question a lot, right? In China and elsewhere. Like, did you fall in love with China? Did you fall in love with the Chinese language? And the answer is no. I'm sorry, I don't fall in love with languages and countries.
Means you are normal.
Yeah, I'm not even in love with my own country, right? So, no, it started as a very random event. I was with the first year of my studies in the University of Athens. I studied English language and literature and linguistics. That's my specialty. So, at that time, 1995, Japanese was very popular. So one of my classmates said, "Hi, why don't we do Japanese?" I said, "Wow, there's so many people there. Why don't we go to Chinese? There's nobody. It's going to be just us." And she said, "Okay, let's start Chinese." So that's it. I started and I found the characters fascinating, intellectually, intriguing. I never liked the sound of the language. Like it doesn't have an emotional, let's say, impact on me. It doesn't speak to my heart. When I hear Chinese, I don't really feel anything. But it's very intriguing, like as a different way of thinking, as another world. Yes, because it's always going to be another world for me, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yes. I've lived 13 years in China, but still, it's like still it's a mystery for me.
Oh,
Yeah, it's still like yeah, you find some ways to like understand some of the things they do or they say to you, right? You understand what they say, but then you don't understand what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, this will always be there, this cultural difference, and I'm okay with that.
I see.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you see these differences in background culture? You are Greek born in Athens, then they moved to China, then it's just a completely different word there.
Yeah.
And there's the words, the way of expression through language. It's a different way to put emotions in the words too.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Oh,
And because you have to teach in Chinese too there, right?
yes.
How do you,
yes.
Then how do you put emotions behind the words?
Yes, sometimes, yeah, there are some things which, yeah, like the Chinese phrase will come easier. Yeah, there are some, in some cases, like some English phrase will be like more suitable, right? Um, yeah, I guess I have like developed a kind of more somatic or physical relationship with the language without realizing. Now that you're asking me, I realize actually. It's not so like intellectual as I described it. Yeah, I guess I do have this like let's say Chinese reflexes, right? Like for example, I really like and use a lot the word mafan, right? This is so mafan. I think mafan really like captures, right? A lot of
What would be the equivalent in Greek?
mafan. It would be I mean the lexical equivalent will be belas.
Elas.
Belas. Yes.
Elas.
But it doesn't have this like a colloquial quality that mafan has, right? Like, yeah, in Greek you would say something like, "Asta," like let it be.
Let it be.
Yeah, like let it, like let me not talk about it, right? Like that's how much of a nuisance this is, like asta. And then you would have to use the gestures, right? Like yeah, yeah. So yeah, like this is one case where this word just comes instinctively to me, right? Like this is so mafat.
It's wonderful.
But does your father use this?
A lot.
A lot, right?
Yeah. Chinese people do this a lot.
Yeah, they're constantly struggling with some kind of mafan because it's not easy to live in such a big country with so many people around you, right? Life is very difficult. But the mafan also doesn't have like the I would say the darkness or the pessimism
That we put. That's true.
Yes, yes. It's like okay, mafan, but then on the other hand, there's a pampa, right?
Right.
Toyachaga pampa, right? I have to find a way,
A way.
right? The pampa, the way. So it always comes with that. Like, how can we deal with this mafan? Oh, maybe we can have an app. So there's an app for every mafan.
Yeah, it's like
Right?
the very fast and like we may say like practical mentality of the Chinese people is like let's find a way.
The way, yeah. I mean, that's why I somehow justify this description we were talking about yesterday, right? Like Chinese culture is a culture of joy. Joy, not in the sense that people are laughing,
Right.
they're not crazy, but joy in the sense that you are open to change, basically. Like whatever the situation is, in the worst situation, it's bound to change. So just move it a little.
This is why you got you, the Taoism got you, right? Your field of work is Taoism and Confucianism and the work.
Yes, that's
We taught this in the 10th colloquium of Eastern philosophy that was promoted by Professor Florentino here in eCamp.
yeah.
I saw and pay close attention to your presentation. Because it somehow talks to me in that very common general way of thinking about ethics, pragmatical ethics on one side, the theological ethics on the other side, and the logics behind that. And I was really like, oh, let me pay attention to that. This is quite interesting, the way that you talk about consequentialism there. And then the ways that you can pose options behind that. There is this possibility, that other possibility.
Yes.
Of course. But it also, there's a flavor of Taoism behind that. I saw that. At least is the way that phenomenologically caught me.
Yes.
Is it there or no? I'm flying. Okay.
Of course, it's Taoism flavored Confucianism. This is what I'm trying to pursue. Confucianism with Taoist characteristics.
Oh,
Which is kind of like kind of a paradox or a contradiction, right? Because we tend to understand the schools as opposed, and we there is a strong like interpretive trend of understanding Taoist texts as critical of Confucianism, right? But then, of course, there is the question if the criticism or the critique is against Confucianism per se, or is it against the Confucians, like the institutionalized version of Confucius? So, yes, you can take your pick. If you think there was something wrong inherently about Confucius, his teachings, right, his project, then you can somehow find no compatibility between these two like rivers of thought. So if you're looking for the truth, then you're looking for certainty, and you're looking for things which are discrete.
I see.
You're looking for like substances, you're looking for discrete entities that you can identify, right? And you can control also. It's also about controllability. So this kind of thinking, for example, is not tolerant to contradiction. And a big, like, let's say, modus operandi of our thought is Aristotle's laws of logic, right? With the law of non-contradiction being one of the most, let's say, part of our hardware.
Right.
Okay, when we say we meet at 6, we meet at 6. We don't meet at 7, right?
Right.
Yes, but actually this is
Not really like that. Yeah. That's true.
yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
So in the Chinese language, you have very, very like strong context dependence, very strong, right? Like the characters are they have this dynamic quality. They have this like buzzing potentiality, crying out for context. Like if you don't put them in their context, they're somehow mute. They don't speak to you. And even in the context, I mean, if you read the classical text, even in the context, they can be mute. I mean, you really need more context to help you understand them. Whereas, I mean, if you read, let's say you read Aristotle or you read Plato, of course, again, there is a part of it which is unapproachable to you, unknowable to you. Yes, because words are like belong to their time also, right? Yes. But still, you have like you have a way like to rely on some definitions.
Of course.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Right.
Especially that's
Yes.
what happens, right? We use that, even though we know that maybe not that, but we still use that as the general mean. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
We use dictionaries.
sure, and
Right.
commentaries and manuals in order to get to that, of course. Otherwise, we'll not be able to really grasp what
Whereas-
is on there.
When you read classical Chinese texts, you don't go to dictionaries. You go to the commentators.
That's what I mean.
Right.
You see
You
that?
go straight to the commentator.
Yeah.
And the commentaries are going to have the part where they tell you, oh, this character here
Means
means
this, in the context, that
Yeah.
context. Yes. Otherwise,
You go into that story. You go into that guy's story. Let's say Zhu story or He story, right? Or whatever, 1V story. You go into their project. So you go into a whole like microcosm. Yes. You don't go to this generic, let's say, manual about how the language works. Yeah.
in this process that you are now in Macau and being a professor there, let's say being a woman inside the China is not that much. You know, you have an empress there in the history and so forth. Not like here in Brazil, we in the course of history we got one female president, woman, and she got
She got ousted.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a little bit of shame, we feel a little bit of shame. Brazilian, that is a little bit of consciousness. It's a little bit shame about that. Historically, we like, but in China, we have a lot of flexibility. And then when we see here in Brazil, for example, we have a lot of a problem towards women and position and power. For example, when you have a meeting with professors, usually no women at all, or usually one, and then people start to do jokes like we should put more women here, and this is a little bit uncomfortable to see. This is because it's the social injustice right in front of you. So how do you see and how do you cope with this idea of consequentialism behind it? There's a consequence for this kind of a social injustice, and it perpetuates suffering. And suffering always goes for conflict, and conflict always end up in some bad situations which violence grows. And women is mostly the victim,
Yes.
right? So how do you see that being a Greek, in the Greek world of Athens, of modern Athens, then you move towards Macau, then you see their culture. I don't know how it's the culture, how the Greek deals with women. We only grasp that through the books.
Yes. How the Greeks.
Yeah, the Greeks first, and then Chinese.
Oh.
And how you cope as a woman, how do you feel this situation there in China, in Macau University?
Well, yeah, first of all, I'd have to say that part of the reason why not so many women are in this, like, let's say, powerful positions is also that women are not interested. I do believe that.
That's nice.
I do believe that women are not interested, or women are not, let's say, socially conditioned to be interested, if you like. Yes. Or that they have like different interests and they don't focus on achieving this goal, this position, this, let's say,
like the male world,
right? Right. Yes. Yes. I think this is part of it. But on the other hand, I also don't deny that there is injustice. So we can accept that both things can be going on, right? I think it's fair to say that. The situation in China, let me start with China. Of course, it's full of men.
Yeah.
Every like department is overwhelmingly populated by men.
By men.
Yes. Of course, there is the demand to hire some women from time to time, to have some female figure there, like for the purposes of catering to your profile, right? But actual power belongs to the man.
To men.
Yes. In philosophy, for example, right? I'm in Confucianism. I specialize in early.
Wow, actually you there.
Yes.
Right? You have a
So female Confucian.
Yes, we have a background to that, yeah.
Right. Right now, right? Contemporary Confucians. You don't find.
Even though no.
There is no scholar, female scholar, who has, like, let's say, the status or the recognition that, the big time contemporary Confucians have in China. You don't have that. And even in philosophy departments, yes, you don't find women doing Confucian. So imagine, right? Me, a woman in Confucianism, a Greek, a Lawai, right? A foreigner
Yes.
doing Chinese philosophy. Legitimacy, like down to
A white Korean.
yeah,
Saying that.
0.1 or 2.
Whoa.
Right? Yes. You do have to fight for your legitimacy. You do. I mean, not only with your colleagues, but also with your students.
Imagine that.
Yes, Chinese students come with some kind of like mistrust. Like,
Of course.
Teach us our stuff.
Our stuff.
Our
It's like
stuff.
teach Brazilian how to do samba,
Yes.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or imagine the opposite, like a Chinese professor going to the University of Athens to teach Plato.
Imagine that. you have to really stand up.
Come
But
on,
you get tested.
and we see Confucius.
Yes, yes.
Talk about Confucius.
Yes, yes. You're going to be tested all the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the time. And that's my experience. But they see me, they see Socrates, right? They think my mom put me to sleep with like Homer, say Homer to me, right? Yeah. So somehow I have to like, yeah, play by that,
Play, but
play by that book, right? I have to like be comparative. I have to explicitly be comparative. It doesn't say anything to them if I insist that whatever I do is comparative. Even when I only talk about Kongzi, right, or Lao Tzu, I am comparative because I am a foreigner, right?
yes, yes.
So I'm bringing my baggage. How can I get rid of my baggage?
Oh yeah, yeah. I cope with that completely. I do understand you.
Yes.
So being half, I
Half-half.
completely understand you. Everyone try to see what's going on here. Test you all the time. Let's see how good you are.
You are like somehow an unknown. What?
The known, exactly, exactly.
Oh, the Greek, Sila menu, right? Oh, you must be doing whatever Socrates or Plato or Aristotle. And when you say no, I don't specialize in Western philosophy. You can do so.
What about the women in how is the relation in Athens? See, we have to compare. We have war under a problem. You have to play by the book.
Similar,
It's similar.
of course. Yes, it's similar. Yes, Greek society is quite traditional society.
Because the Christian Orthodox stuff. The woman must be the family matrix. Ah,
Yes, not in like in such strong terms anymore, right? Like of course the zeitgeist around the world has also influenced Athens. Um but yes, I mean again, the same thing. You don't find many women in like positions of power, right? And there are expectations from women that are still there very strong that you have to like um produce children, right? To fulfill your womanhood, right? So childbearing is like part of your identity as a woman still, of course.
okay.
When you're not married, you are like somehow
But we have a resistance there because when we see the demographic graphics, it shows a decline. I mean, the women, I think, are resisting this idea, right? We don't have so much, and then they start to say, "Oh, come to Greece, come to Italy. We pay for you if you do kids for us." Right? We have all this international politics. It's strange in Canada also like that. They have a decreasing in population because people start to resist about that, right?
Yes.
I think mostly women start saying, "No, I don't come to this world to just bear children for you guys." Right.
Yes. Also, people that have environmental concerns.
Yeah.
Why should I bring a child into this world when the world has more than enough people, right? Why don't I adopt, for example? Some people turn to that. But yeah, it's also about like social expectations and this pressure. But still, if I compare China with Greece, I would say that in China it's much stronger. Like the pressure on young people to live up to the social expectations is much stronger. And yeah, many people like resist.
I was studying Fei Xiaotong,
Yes.
and he puts this. I thought it was changed a little bit after Deng Xiaoping and the advancements of coming later, but no, we still have this problem, right? It's a cultural thing. It's not governmental thing, I think, right?
Yes.
It's a cultural.
Yes, it's a cultural thing, but it also becomes a political thing and a policy, right? Because they have a population problem, they have a demographic problem. So the government is actually promoting this idea of people having children, need to have
But
children.
it has to be male. That's the word.
Yes.
Oh my God! Then you don't have the next generation. You have to put pressure to have women, not men. It's crazy. How are you going to have? I want
The boy.
Oh,
On the boy.
oh my God! Again, this doesn't make any sense.
that's the trend. Of course, there are people who also resist this idea, but the trend is that you need a boy to continue the
lineage. Wow,
the line. Never break the line. Yes.
It doesn't make
I mean, the idea, right? This old Confucian idea or Confucianism inspired idea that the most non-filial thing you can do is not have children.
Oh yeah.
Is still
Filial
there.
piety. Yes. Piety, the filial piety.
Filial piety, which like filial pity. That would
Filial piety. This is my background, my sainties, like before the kind of say hosted. I really said roasted because I'm thinking, oh, this is going to bring so much problems and things like that. Yeah. So thank you so much for your presence here. It's wonderful to see someone that is becoming, at least for us here that meet you in the colloquium that Professor Valentino did here in Unicamp, a symbol for women. In our country, we have this tremendous struggle to put women at equal position. You see Professor José Jorge talking about racism, right? But we have another issue here. That's the problem with
sexism.
Sexism, yes, misogyny, male-centered society. You see,
yes,
because we have a background connected with Portuguese and then later other levels of Christianity that put this model that's not even from Paul the Apostle, it's the followers of him that put that in Ephesus, how to say? The letter to Ephesus, yes, they say women should be subjugated by men and should be subservient to men.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
And then they have all these other conditions there. And the common people replicate this system without thinking.
Yes, and the ironic thing is that the system is replicated by women. I mean, the women who are raising their sons, right, in this way. So I think that a big part of this kind of like enhancement of awareness is making women like more aware.
That's
Women who are raising men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have this is why I saying to you that you start to be for us here a symbol of this resistance in the heart of a system that also promotes, like Christianity, this kind of a mentality that's Confucianism. So when you start to use Confucius yesterday, I was like, wow, what I'm seeing here.
You mean you didn't expect that?
No, never. I was thinking about, she's going to talk about Taoism.
Taoism.
And it went in Confucianism, and not just enter. You start to go deep on that. It was like, how she can manage that in China, my God. And then you flow with that, and then I saw Hobby-Wan there. I was looking to Hobby-Wan to see how the Taoists respond to that, and other people that's Confucianist also. And it went wonderfully. Explain that.
Right?
Wow, it was amazing. Thank you so much for that.
You appreciate that. Thank you for being attentive to that.